Cheers. Welcome to the Bric drinks. I'm Tom from the shop. This is Dory, our mascot. And hi. If it's your first time, do grab a drink and probably play this in the background. I've got a few things to chat about tonight. How's your week been? Mine has been really zonked, and I think it's because of the solar eclipse. And also tomorrow will be an anniversary, which I'll talk about that shortly. The anniversary of the Titanic sinking 112 years ago. But have you ever thought about the animals that were on board? And of course, we'll have our review, film review, flashback. And it's a different flashback from the English one. And also do a pick a card for a general reading. So if it's your first time, welcome. Do like the video and subscribe and press the bell, because I know I've been saying it, but I will be releasing new videos soon. And not like these. These will like proper things about places and things. And also I'll tell you about next week. That's going to be interesting. And did you watch my last live, which wasn't from here? So cheers. I've actually got an energy drink. I was going to open something, and then I thought I won't open something. I'll have something else, and then I thought I'd have something soft, and I thought it was fading. So I thought I got a drink instead. So cheers. What are you all drinking? I think I got a bit of hair in myself. Hair in my lip, hair in my mouth. The doctor's in the house. Welcome, doctor. Your taxes are done. That's good. I haven't even thought about that yet. I'm just been too busy. Story of my life. Just in time, doc, says She-Wolf. I'm just wondering, my camera's too low. I can't see Dory. There we are. That's a bit better for Dory. There we go. Dory's still there. She-Wolf says, hello, Tom and Dory. Hello, She-Wolf. Eek? Eek? What's that mean, doctor? Hiya, Tom. Hiya, doctor. Coffee here. French roast. What coffee do you have? Actually, I think that's Badger that usually has French roast. So how has your week been? How was there was a new moon and a solar eclipse. Apparently I found out you get a lunar eclipse with a full moon, and you get a solar eclipse with a new moon. And as you've probably heard all the from all the news and everything, the US had a really good view of the solar eclipse, like all the way through the states, like halfway through the states, through Indiana, and all the way through Texas as well. And apparently some people have actually traveled there to actually watch it. She says, when Doc said, he was saying, I know. Oh, right. Thank you. I know. Right. That's what it was. Sorry, I'm just not up with all this abbreviations. You have water again. Plain water, tap water, mineral water, sparkling water. What sort of water? Flavored water. There was a great brand in Australia called Hepswin Spa. I don't even know if they're still around, but they used to have flavored water with real fruit juice, so like orange and mango, or lemon and lime, and all that sort of thing. And they were really, really, really refreshing. I don't even know if they're still around. If anyone's watching from Australia, do comment, which I don't think they are. So how did the solar eclipse? Oh, more comments. It didn't get completely dark here. But you're a bit off the route. You're more East Coast, aren't you, She-Wolf? Because it really went through like almost like around the Chicago way. The shadows were pretty cool. Oh, really? I pasted a pic of the darkest picture I got of it. Oh, really? That sounds good. Maybe you should have added it to the Facebook group as well. That would have been nice to have seen. I don't know if I've ever been in an eclipse, and I've always been told you're not supposed to look at the sun during an eclipse because it's supposed to be very damaging to the eyes, like completely blinding someone if they look at it. And I remember we actually had an eclipse years ago in Australia, and it wasn't on a weekend, and someone was having a barbecue and they were outside, and just for fun, someone said, go on, look at the sun, go on. So he looked at the sun and lost his sight. It's been very sad. And that's why I wonder about these glasses. How do these glasses work to be able to look at the sun? Because I remember as a child growing up, they said, don't look at the sun during a solar eclipse, and especially with glasses because they just do not help. So it's a bit, I don't know, I'd be a bit frightened. Anyway, yeah. Shul says, I didn't take any pics directly at the sun. I just took pics of the area to the side of it. Oh, right. I suppose you could take pictures if you point the camera up where the sun would be and take pictures. You could, I don't know. Never had the opportunity. I just remember the Carly Simon, is it Carly Simon song about You're So Vain, which technically was about Warren Beatty traveling somewhere to see the total eclipse of the sun. Just those lyrics from the song. They are probably similar to welding glass. Oh, I don't even know about welding glass. I suppose the glass is all formed in a certain way, so it refracts the light. So it's not so harmful. I don't know anything about that. Maybe I should investigate more. But how are you all feeling? People have said all sorts of things actually about the right there, Doreen. People have been saying all sorts of things about the eclipse, like, well, as you know, as I can't remember if I posted it. In the olden days, people thought that some demon or something was swallowing the sun. Now, don't forget, no modern communication. They thought the earth was flat. Everything went around the earth, and the sun went around the earth, and they thought some demon or some monster or some dragon was swallowing the sun. And some cultures, I think it's the Chinese culture, they say if you make a lot of noise, bang garbage lids, for example, or something like that. If you bang things together, make a lot of noise, it will frighten the dragon away and the sun will come out. And of course, if you're making a lot of noise, of course, the eclipse passes and the sun comes out. And so they think it's them banging away. Which is a great interpretation, I thought. Yeah, so that's how ancient people used to describe a solar eclipse. And apparently 2,000 years ago, the Greeks, actually, I think it's the Greeks, it might have been the Mesopotamia, the other civilization before that. I've been reading so much, it's all getting into a mumbo jumbo. But about 2,000 years ago, they realized, actually a bit more, maybe 2,500 years ago, they realized it was the planets and all that. And they could actually almost became to be able to predict solar eclipses. Doctor says, I wonder. There we go. Doctor says, I wonder how the flat earthers can explain an eclipse. That's very interesting. I wonder how they explain a lot of things, actually. But they can probably say, I was going to say the moon is well, it is. It's a solar eclipse is when the moon passes between the earth and the sun. And you could still explain it that way with the flat earthers because everything, well, I don't know, do the flat earthers believe that we go around the sun or the sun goes around the earth? That's another thing. But you can still explain it. The earth is flat and you get all the planets going around and the sun goes around and crosses the light of the sun. There you go. I think that's how they would explain it. So it's probably pretty much the same, really. But yeah, I don't feel anything after the eclipse. I was just hoping it would get darker than it did. Yeah, well, we're probably too off the trail of the eclipse. How do you explain the narrow band of darkness? Well, as it goes through the continent, um, that's because the Earth is spinning, I would say. Yeah, basically, the moon is passing between the sun and the Earth is spinning as well, and that's why you get that trail of darkness. And I'm sure that would disappear after a while as well. But that's how long the darkness is. Ooh, I keep feeling Dory is slipping. Sorry, Dory. Yeah, so that's how I would explain it. So we need to interview a flat earther. Okay. I'll see if I can find one. It's hard to find anyone to interview anyway. She-Wolf is being practical. She's probably right. It's called a shadow. Yes, you're right. Thank you. And what was I going to say? Well, I sort of I didn't feel anything so much afterwards, but the astrology sides of things, they actually say that there's a lot more into the astrology as well. But because when you have a new moon and a solar eclipse, as we always say, when there's a new moon, it's time to start things again. Put intentions out there, set your goals, because it will grow with the new moon as the moon gets larger. But when you have a solar eclipse, there's actually extra energy involved as well. Apparently, we're getting another eclipse in October. And a lot of them suggesting that a lot of things are going to be happening. Like, it's very, very powerful. So put your intentions out there, put your goals out there, and let it grow and see what happens. See where we're going to be in 6 months' time. In fact, been hearing a lot of things about the astrology that around September, October, yeah, when the next eclipse is coming, lots of things will start happening. It's like a coasting, and then it'll go big in September. But we'll see, because they said lots of things were going to happen with the solar eclipse. Like, well, that's right. As tradition goes, that it's also a premonition of bad things happening, like wars breaking up or kings dying, someone really important dying. And so they were saying probably on the 8th of April, when we had the solar eclipse, someone could be assassinated. And with all these countries flexing their nuclear muscles, they were saying someone might do something nuclear as well. But no, I think nothing's happened. And then again, you can twist the saying, well, humanity is getting on to the ball of it and holding it down and keeping the peace. That's one way of looking at it as well. So, as I said, keep I'm just looking at my notes here, if I can find it. Yeah, so basically, put it out there. The big thing, because Chiron, apparently it's a comet, if I've got my facts right, it's coming through, and that's influencing a lot of things. And we're going through the the sign of Aries, which is warrior. And there's a lot of other stuff as well. There's so much to take in and so much to describe. I'm not an astrologer. I'm just looking at this article from Astrostyle, which is from two sisters apparently, and they're saying how, where's the nutshell? In a nutshell, yeah, be careful of power struggles, arguments. Just walk away, because they could just flare up, and you can be in a big fight. So just play it cool, let it ride, let it pass. But basically, what I really want to say is put it out there, what your intention is, because you've got a lot of help of getting something with between now and the next solar eclipse. And I must say, I don't know how you guys have felt, but I've felt through the week, I've been feeling zonked out. It's like my brain's not working. It really is. I remember a couple of days later, I woke up trying to do things, and I just felt like I was on automatic because I had to get to my jobs. I had to do this. I had to do that. And I'm only beginning to feel right again. And I'm also having a new surge. And I haven't actually had this surge for a long time, that like I have a goal and I know what I'm going to get. And I haven't written it down. I haven't done all that sort of thing. Sometimes you don't have to. But I know it's like I've got it's an old intent. It's like I've got an old intention and it's coming to the surface again, and I can go forward following it again. That's how I feel. And I think things are beginning to happen. So hopefully I'll get the channel going as well. As you know, I've been watching seriousjoy.tv on YouTube, and they actually have a light worker, as in they're the people that spread the light, you know, if you're into that spiritual sort of stuff. And that's astrology and all the reincarnation, the mediums, the spirits, all that sort of stuff. And they're having one of their, well, this is their first gathering in Texas, Austin, Texas, on the 18th and 19th of May. And this is supposed to be a special one. And if you go, you get to be labeled as the forefathers, the foremothers of the whole group, because they're going to have one every year, obviously. And I just thought, I really felt attracted. I really wanted to go to this group meeting and just be with other like-minded people. And I'm just thinking, I don't know. At the moment, it doesn't look I can do it, because it's going to cost me at least, excuse me, I did have a quick research. It would be at least £1,500. So what's that in American dollars? Even more. And I'm thinking, at this stage, I really don't think I can. But I'll put it out there. I'll see what happens. I have put out other things before and it didn't happen. But who knows? Like last year, I put it out there. I said, oh, it'd be nice to go to Greece. Because I was having this conversation with someone and said how nice Greece was. I said, yeah, it would be nice. And then I got an email the next day from a friend saying, I'll pay for you to come to Greece. And I did. So maybe someone will be nice enough to take me to Texas for this meetup, so to speak. But next week is going to be different. The doctor says, meditate away, doctor, please. Don't know what could happen. I'm trying to stay motivated to get stuff done. Write a list, check it twice, and go down the list and tick them off. That's my advice. Actually, that's very true. I mean, it's probably the solar eclipse, because I have so many things I have to do, and I am finding it really hard to get it done. Also get motivated to get it done. So I think it's up. Blame it on the solar eclipse. It'll pass and you'll get motivated again. I have to get motivated. Like there's a few people's birthdays I've been meaning to send cards and presents to. And I just can't get around to it. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I've just got a block. But I feel like hopefully it's slowly clearing. And as that Astro Style said in the article, that it's like lights out with the solar eclipse, and when the lights come back on again, you're going to see with the new clarity and be able to go forward and get things done. So we'll see what happens. She will says, spring cleaning, doc. Doctor said, same. Well, there you go. Good on you. As I said, I'm finding it really hard to get motivated. Yes, have the Chelsea Flower Show coming up soon. Oh, we have the Chelsea Flower Show coming up soon. Do we? I've never been. Although it was one of the Queen's favorite functions. The Queen was always there, as in Queen Elizabeth II. You've got to be careful now when you say the Queen. To be honest, the present Queen is Queen Camilla. And so when I speak about the Queen, I've got to actually say Queen Elizabeth II. So we don't get the two queens mixed up. But I think everyone still thinks when we say Queen, Queen Elizabeth II. Yes, it is coming up, but I don't know. I've never been. She was says, I watch cleaning videos on YouTube for motivation. Watching others clean really does make you want to do it too. I know what you mean. Babies do it. They see the mums doing the dishes, and these 2-year-olds, they want to do the dishes as well. The thing is, you should let them, because by the time they're old enough to actually do it, they don't want to do it. Yeah, so I didn't even know there was cleaning videos. Interesting. I've just got to get organizational videos. I'm only laughing because, to be honest, my place is a mess. And this is really strange because, I do the tarot cards for myself, readings. And I do it on YouTube. They'll do like pick a card and there'll be a reading and things like that. And it's just strange because I went through a period where the cards I picked for myself and then the readings I would get on the pick a card on YouTube, which is a filmed video, as you all know. And that's why I mean they're like evergreen because it can apply to any time. And at the same period, cards would come out and say, I've got to clean, declutter, tidy up, organize yourself. And I'm thinking, this is a bit strange. And of course I haven't, which is probably why I'm still stuck, because I haven't cleaned everything. And it's also the feng shui sort of thing. And that's where it comes from. She-Wolf says, trust me, no one confuses Camilla with the Queen. Jolly good. Okay. Yeah, so getting back to astrology, put it out there. You've got 6 months to ride it, to make what you want. Doctor will have a clean, new, spanking house. She-Wolf will be fine. Badger will be... Badger's another regular if you're just tuning in. Badger will be moved to another location and another job and living happily ever after. She says, all the women I follow on YouTube make homemaking videos. They're all pretty much put out at least one cleaning video a week for motivation. Wow. You really want to watch people clean? I don't know. I wouldn't. It's not me. Actually, I can see other people clean at work, actually, if I really wanted to. But it's good. It's good for motivation, and that's really good. I got to watch. Well, I suppose I am. I'm watching videos. Actually, I'm doing a course at the moment on getting businesses up and running. So I suppose it's the same thing. It's motivational. So very good. But you know what I was thinking, and for some reason I just came across an article on the Titanic. Now, she says watching people clean might be a girl thing. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe a kids thing. Kids watch people clean and want to clean as well. I remember I wanted to do the vacuuming and the sweeping when I was a kid. Mum wouldn't let me. She said I only make the place worse and more dirty. Yeah, so maybe it's a girl thing. Who knows? Anyway, this day and age, people can do anything, men or women. But I noticed the date talking about the Titanic. 14th of April, the Titanic sank 112 years ago, back in 1912, the Titanic. And I was realizing that's tomorrow. And I looked up, I wonder what day it is. And it's a Sunday as well. So imagine 112 years ago, everyone in the Atlantic having a good time on the Atlantic, thinking they'll get it's. Don't forget, this was just a new ship, the largest ship, with the creme de la creme of society on it. That's upstairs. If you're probably like the rest of us, we'll be in third class, actually, down the bottom. And there were the second class passengers as well. But it was, and if the ship didn't sink, everyone would have gone on with their normal lives. It will sail back and forth the Atlantic for decades. Probably did its service in World War II like all the other big ships, and then decommissioned, maybe in the 60s, like a lot of ships were, like the Queen Mary in LA now, or Long Beach. But it's made it famous. And that was because of so many people dying. So I was thinking, I was saying, tomorrow night the Titanic sinks, but tomorrow night, 112 years ago, the Titanic sank. 20 minutes to 12, 11:40. And then it went down at 2:20. So that's like 2 hours and 40 minutes of pandemonia trying to getting off the boat. And I came across this article that there were 12 dogs apparently on board. And apparently you had to keep the dogs in the kennel. Doctor said, yes, the Queen Mary. Yeah. All the dogs had to be kept in the kennel. But of course, the first class passengers, some of them didn't want to keep their dogs in the kennel. And these were the small ones, which is pretty fair, I think, because they are tiny little things. They need looking after. Like Pom, I don't know, what were the dogs? They were the a few of them had just trying to find the they had like, what's the dogs? I'm trying to find the dogs that they had. A Pomeranian. Is that the right way you pronounce it? Very furry little dogs. I'm just getting this information from the American Kennel Club. Apparently, I just found this article. It was great. I wonder, did you want to have a look at the dogs? I'll try and share the screen. It's really quite interesting, actually. The doctor's going. Have a great weekend, everyone. Goodbye, doctor. Obviously a better date up ahead. Let's see. Just getting the so just getting the page up. They're the Pomeranian dogs. Apparently, they belong to obviously the first class passengers. They were allowed to keep them. They weren't allowed to keep them in their staterooms, but they kept them in the stateroom. So when the Titanic hit, they were able to take the dogs off into the life rafts. One of them actually didn't. I think, as you can see, Mrs. Rothschild, obviously were they the bankers? Took the dog off, but didn't let anyone on. In fact, the rescuing ship, the RMS Carpathia, actually wouldn't let it on at first, but she insisted, so she managed to get it on. What would they do? Throw it off into the water or something? Mr. Rothschild passed away, unfortunately, on the shipwreck. But there's all these. There were the other dogs like that; those perished. Apparently, someone went into the kennels. So those 3 dogs in the state rooms with the first class passengers, they got taken off the boat with the ladies of the boat, ladies of first class. These dogs, you can see, and I hope you can see the screen. They obviously perished. Someone went into the kennels. All the dogs had to be kept in the kennels, apparently, as I said. But someone went in and let them all out, which was a nice thing, because otherwise they'd be stuck in the kennels and drowning in their kennels. So they were allowed out, and so they were just running loose on the deck. It's amazing that their owners didn't come to get them. And I was just thinking, because apparently they said probably a passenger let them out. Now, I was just reading Mrs. No, not Mrs. Ms. Elizabeth. These are some of the people that had the dogs on the boat. The one on the right, obviously, both of them perished. But Elizabeth Isham, she got on the boat in France, went from Southampton to Cherbourg, if that's how you pronounce it, before stopping in Cork in Ireland and then off to New York. She got on the boat from Cherbourg with a Great Dane. You know, those dogs are huge. So she probably had it in the kennel, because there was nothing in this article about it being kept in her stateroom. So she probably had it in the kennel. So she went to the kennel to get it out. And I think she let all the other dogs out as well. But if you read like they wouldn't let her take the dog into the lifeboat, which was a bit mean. Mind you, when you think about reading up, most of the lifeboats were half empty anyway. She could have had the dog in there, but they wouldn't let her take the dog onto the lifeboat. And so, as you can read here, so she stayed on the boat with her dog and, of course, died. But as you can see here, there's talk that there's nothing that could validate it, but there's talk that when they found her body, she actually had her arms wrapped around her dog. There you go. And a bit of a paranormal side I was reading. No, it's not there. One of the crew members had a dog as well, and here we go. Wriggle. He belonged to the first officer. Here we go, William Murdoch, and apparently the dog survived the sinking of the Titanic. He was in the waters, barking and barking and barking. In fact, he was barking that when the Carpathia, when they were looking for survivors, they could hear the dog barking. And so they were able to find the survivors and pick them up. But as you can read, the Smithsonian, which I believe is a publication, they have no record of that dog anywhere. Even the survivors don't remember that dog. And so they think that story is not true. But when you think about it, how do you know that it might not have been a ghost dog? Because dogs, animals do have spirits as well. I've done videos on that as well from other people's accounts. So just look it up as usual on my homepage in YouTube. And it makes you wonder that maybe it was a ghost dog barking away to let people know that they were survivors in the water. What do you think? What do you think? Let me get back to okay, we're back on. The doctor's gone. Bye, Doc, from She-Wolf. Bye, Doc. He's ditching us for TikTok. Yeah, obviously TikTok's a lot more interesting. If you can think of any ways to make mine a bit more interesting, do let me know. Have you watched any movies? Oh yeah, last week. What did you think of my live broadcast from Beddington Park? Was it interesting? Was it boring? Was it uneventful? Do let me know. I mean, it was dark. Yeah, you might not have seen that much anyway. And being on the go is a bit hard. However, next week, I will be broadcasting at a new time, only for next week, because otherwise I'm going to be on a plane coming back to London. It was the best flight I could get, and I'm going to be up in the air. I was just thinking maybe I could do it live from the flight, but I don't think they've got Wi-Fi on the planes yet. Some planes are actually getting Wi-Fi, and I can't remember. Maybe. I'll see. Depends on who I'm sitting next to as well. But I might do it from an earlier time. I might do it from the airport like I did in Greece. That was a bit of a mix-up, wasn't it? And I'll also have a look. Maybe I might do it from. I'm going to Malta, by the way. So maybe I'll do it from Malta. Maybe I'll do it at the airport. I'll see what happens, and I'll just try and get a right time, because otherwise I think it's going to be like a couple of hours earlier. So I hope that's all right for everyone. We'll see who actually reads my post when I say I'll be broadcasting tonight at, and see if you tune in at that time, or if you wait till 10:30 and watch the replay instead. So there's that. I think he's just going to TikTok for another special they're having. They're always having specials. Cheers. I wonder if, then we'll have copyright. I was thinking maybe if I knew where it was, maybe I could gate crash and screen it here and chat about it as well. But I might get done for copyright on YouTube, so I won't bother. She will says, I saw a movie on Amazon Prime called The Blackwell Ghost. It was okay, but I wish the guy would have told me more about what he claims he saw in the house. Was this a documentary, or was this or fiction? Do let me know. Now, I saw a film called Flashback. I thought it was that reincarnation, but it's not. It's a bit like a psychedelic trip, actually. It was entertaining, I've got to admit. And it was very much for women's rights. So I'm sure the women watching this will feel quite empowered. And it was look at women through history. It's called Flashback. It's unfortunately I don't have a trailer because I couldn't find one that's not copyrighted. But it's a French film. Badger probably liked this. He likes his French film. It was a documentary. He wanted to prove that ghosts exist. Oh, wonderful. Did he prove it? Or should we watch the documentary? Let me know. Let me know. Amazing. Doing a documentary without saying what ghosts he saw inside the house. It's a bit strange, isn't it? Anyway, if anyone else is joining, hello, get a drink, put it on the background. I'm telling you about the film I saw during the week. And do like and subscribe. Tell your friends about our lives. Flashback. It's a French film. So subtitles, basically. And it's... I'm including it because it's a bit sci-fi and time traveling. And it was fun, actually. I thought it was about reincarnation, but it wasn't. It's about a successful female lawyer called Charlie, interesting, played by Caroline Villot. It's French. They're all French. And apparently she directed the film as well. And she's a lawyer. And after another tough case, Charlie ends up meeting Hubert, who's a taxi driver, played by Issa Dumbria. It is a French film. It's not French-Canadian, it's a French film. But apparently she's been out partying and doing naughty things, if you know what I mean. Which is why she thinks she's hallucinating all these stuff until things get really, really hyped up. Like she's on trial for a witch, and she's going along quite well because she thinks it's the drug, the recreation stuff, and she's taken to the stakes until she starts burning, and that's when she realized, oh my god, this is actually really happening. But the taxi driver Hubert, he comes through in and out of the film because he's a taxi driver. He actually sort of like transports her to different parts of time, because it's a case she's working on, and it's actually, should I say, I don't know if am I allowed to on YouTube? It's an RAPE case, and anyway, she's been out partying the night afterwards, and she meets Hubert, who was taking her home. He's a taxi driver, taking her to her home, and all of a sudden she's transported, and also she's taken these things. She's transported back to various times in history, which is really quite interesting. And she actually meets Joan of Arc, who's actually fighting for liberation and all that sort of things. And then she goes to another period, and so she actually sees all these tribulations women have gone through in the past. It's obviously not a serious film, but it's really entertaining, and it gets your attention. If a film gets my attention, it's in. It's based on true events as well, and looks at women fighting, basically looking at women fighting for their rights. I'm just thinking of some of the women she's met now, actually, because it's in the trailer anyway. If you see the trailer, look up Flashback 2021. It's a French film. But she's met Madame Curie, who was the person who discovered radium and leading on to uranium. And that she wasn't going to be, they weren't actually going to accept her. There is Napoleon, who actually, she meets Napoleon, and Napoleon actually says a woman's role is, well, as a wife, is to do what the husband wants. And I think it wasn't until like the 20th century did that actually get changed. Women's vote. I mean, the UK, I think the women got the right to vote maybe in the 1920s. I don't know. I didn't check it out. But apparently France was one of the last countries to let women vote. And that was back in 1945, when the end of the war, and they also allowed women to then vote, which is really quite interesting. I think America got the vote around the late 20s, which is from what I've read in history. All the women voted for prohibition, because to stop their husbands from going and getting drunk all the time. So they voted for prohibition, and that brought prohibition into America. But there's all these other people that Charlie actually meets through the film, and I just think it's a fun film. And it's also got a fast pace. It doesn't let you get bored. Things are happening. She's always switching timelines. And and she meets George Sand. Do you know George Sand? A lot of people don't. George Sand is not a George. It's, I can't remember her real name, but apparently this is a true story. George Sands was a woman. She went out, apparently from this film, she went out with a lot of people, but she went out with Chopin, the musician, the piano player, Chopin. And George Sands was a writer, a journalist. That was basically her main thing. She was a journalist. She used to write for a paper. And back then, you had to be a man to write for the newspaper. They wouldn't accept anything from a woman, usually. So she went around as George Sand. And because this is something I've learned elsewhere, because back in those days, the stalls of the theater where people would meet, the men would be, women weren't actually there. Women were in the dress circle upstairs. So it was very rough, very rowdy in the stores. Only the men were allowed to be there. And so what she would do was dress up as a man and go in and pretend she was a man and mix with the other man. And then she'd hear all the gossip that was going around, and she'd get all the news that way. So that's what she did, George Sand. In fact, there's an old movie about her, I believe, which Merle Oberon, very famous classic actress back then, played George Sands dressed up as a man. So that you had all these famous female characters the film actually looks at as well. It's a French film, so these are all female famous people. I'm just quickly reading through. Yeah, as I said, it's a fun film, fast pace, acting's good. Don't take it seriously, but it's educational. some interesting things. I think a lot of people wouldn't realize some of the things that these women have done and fought for through history as well. And yeah, I gave it an 8 out of 10. But I think it's pretty new. And it's also foreign, which is why Rotten Tomatoes hasn't got anything on it. So, and again, if you subscribe to Amazon Prime, it's free. Look it up, watch it, and you decide and let me know what you think. It only came out in 2021, so not that long ago. She says, I also saw the movies you mentioned called Angelica and The Voices in the Stone. And do say, what did you think? Did you get bored like me, or did you actually enjoy it? I enjoyed them, but it was just too slow. She says she time travels in the movie, then, I suppose. She does, going back to flashback, she does time travel. But it's up to you whether you think she time travels or imagines it, or it's one of those films. Actually, A Matter of Life and Death is another one of those films where you don't know whether it's real or imagination. Maybe I'll do a review of that. It's a great classic film, A Matter of Life and Death. But getting back to flashback, yeah, you don't know whether she actually does time travel or it's all in her mind, but it's some really good periods that she goes to. So I'll recommend that. So getting to, anyone got a question for the cards? And in the future, if you're watching this in the future on replay, don't worry. You're obviously here for a reason. And if you have a question, do ask the cards, because that's why you found this video. Ask a question and you'll get an answer. You don't have to write it in the comments. Just think of it. Unless you want to, it'd be great, because then we've got something to focus on as well. If you're watching this live. Yeah, so think of a question. Let me know. She Wolf's just put another comment in. She Wolf says, I'd give Angelica a 1 because, are you sure it's a 1 or a 10? And 1 because I like some of the dresses. The other movie was better, but I was a little confused for a bit. I'd give it a 7-ish. Is this 1 out of 10 as in 1 very bad or 1 very good? And 7 very good or 7 really bad? Which one, She-Wolf? Weren't the dresses great in Angelica? That was a really good thing. Also, I was going to say the setting was very good as well, but I thought, I don't know, I have to do my homework, but I thought there was a bit of a glitch in the arc where they lived. We're talking about Angelica now, if anyone's watching. It's a film called Angelica. It's set in the 1880s, from what they say, what they do. And Angelica leaves a house. And if you notice the house, it has, it's in the old Byzantine style, or neo-Byzantine style, which was popular in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Actually, 1900s, early 1900s, even the 1990s. And to be technical, those houses wouldn't have been built when this picture was set. It was like, they were like 10, I'm being picky, it's been like 10 years, 20 years too early. They wouldn't have lived in a place like that, because the architect was slightly wrong, because they had like stripes on the archways, and they weren't like that until like 10 years later. And that's just me being picky, but still it does represent the time, so I'll give them that. She says 1 means it sucked. Oh, so you liked the voice from what was it? The Voices in the Stone. That's interesting. That's you gave it 7 out of 10. It's a very high mark, because even Rotten Tomatoes actually gave it a 4. So that's really interesting. I'm sure they're glad that someone liked it. I can tell you that. I know that was 2 weeks of boring films. Sorry, producers, directors, people in those shows, but it was the script, it was the writing. That's what I'd say. I like the castle. Laughing out loud, says She-Wolf. That's the Voices in the Stone. It was filmed, apparently. It was supposed to be set in Tuscany in an old castle, an old palace, and it did work. It did look really, really good, I've got to say. So yeah, we'll watch. We'll have a look at Flashback. It changes the pace. It becomes a lot faster. It's nicer, and well, I don't know next week if I'll give a review, but I did see another film that was unexpected, but really got me in, and actually got a bit creepy as well, which was unexpected and really good. That is next week or the week after. I'll see what happens with my live next week. So stay tuned for that. Or I might save it for the week after. I'll see what happens. Anyone got a question for the cards? Is going to look for Flashback. There is an English version. It's not a totally different show, I think. But I was looking up on the internet. There is another film called Flashback. Maybe I'll watch that as well. Maybe I'll watch that for next week. And you've got the French one as well. You're right there, Dory. Okay, any questions for the cards? We'll have a quick shuffle. Put it out there. And I believe, for some reason, if you found this video and you've got a question, do ask it, because I believe it's always for a reason. Because I've done things. I've seen things on YouTube and I think, oh, I'll ask a question. And it seems to be spot on. I mean, then again, if you're a skeptic, you could probably say that we adjust our problems, our situation to the answer of the cards. That's another way of thinking. But sometimes I think it's a bit strange how sometimes the cards do get it right. She-Wolf says, if the cards come out really optimistic, then they're probably the Badger. That's only if he's asking for it. He's not here. But now that you've put that out there, She-Wolf, we'll see. But then you're being selective. So if they're not optimistic, then it's not for Badger. Let's have a look. Let's see what cards drop out. Put it out there. The collective consciousness will decide. The collective consciousness, it's the sort of system that I believe that, you know, when you think of someone and then they ring you up on the phone, it's that sort of thing. It's all connected. So let's see. That's right. Maybe one card will drop out, maybe quite a few cards. Oh, there we go. And it is the reverse of, that's interesting, the Death card. The card that everyone seems to hate since they've been watching the movies. Actually, I've never had a Death card for a long while, I think. But that's not to be scared, though. Death doesn't actually mean death. It means a renewal, which could be good. But it is in reverse. So let's see what it says. Could be for Badger. He's got a new change. See what you put out there, She-Wolf? Although it's the reverse, so maybe not. It says the inability to move forward, fear of beginnings, repeating negative patterns, resisting change, dependency. Well, there you go. Actually, I think I can relate to that. So did anyone ask a question? It obviously means you're stuck and you're too scared to move forward. I only roll my eyes because I think I can relate to that, actually. So it's resisting change. And so whoever had a question, does that make sense to you? It sounds very much like that is the situation. You're stuck. You're going in a bad pattern and you've got to break out of it, obviously. Let's ask Elliot. Elliot has a totally different view on the cards. And I like Elliot. If you haven't heard of him, he is a tarot reader on YouTube. And he gives really succinct answers. And if you want something a bit more in depth, well, look him up. Let's have a look what he says on the death card reversed. Be quite interesting, I'm sure. Oh no, he hasn't got one. It's not like him. Here we go. Okay. Okay, we all ready? Ta-da!
I am Dr. Elliot Adam with today's card of the day, which is Death Reversed. Now, upright or reversed, the death card always signifies a huge transformation. It's a death of the old and a rebirth of the new. And whenever this card comes up, it's telling you to let go of that which no longer serves you. When this card comes up reversed, it's indicating that there is something that you may still be hanging on to, that it's time to finally let go of. And when this card comes up reversed, it's asking what you're resistant to changing in your life right now. It's this area that the biggest growth is going to happen for you. It's this area where the hugest breakthrough is just about to happen. And if you cooperate with the change in front of you and let go of all the old stuff that just no longer serves a purpose, you are going to be light and free. Always on the death card is the sun that rises over the horizon, which indicates rebirth and renewal. So like the phoenix, you will rise again. To read more, to schedule a session with me, visit ElliotOracle.com.
Well, there you go. And she says, I'm the only one here, and we get the death card. Typical. Is it? Sounds like you're going to do some really good things. Are you stuck in a rut, She-Wolf? If you want to take on that card, are you stuck in a rut? There it is. Are you stuck in a rut? Are you... But as Elliot said, it's actually quite a good card because breakout and a great big beginning is there for you. And it's actually a really good card, the death card, because it is renewal and it's moving forward. And it's a bit like what we've just said at the beginning of the show, how with the solar eclipse and the new moon, that things are going to start changing and moving forward. So I think this comes in pretty well with the environment, and it can go for Badger as well, because I'm sure he's wanting a big change coming up, and he might be getting it. So there you go. I think it's a really good card. There we are. Not to feel bad. I know old movies throughout the 20th century, they've always picked a death card and everyone goes, ooh, but they're the movies and they want to elaborate and put tension and excitement in. So they say these things, and it's totally far from what it means. So there you have it. So She-Wolf, you're probably in for a big change. Make the most of it. And do say what big changes you'll come across. So have a good week. I am flying out on Monday to Malta. I'm going to meet a friend again. I was meant to do my videos. I'm really sorry. There's all these videos lining up that I'm supposed to put out there, and I just haven't got around to doing it. I'm really sorry. I really apologize. I'm wanting to revamp the channel and make it a bit more out there. And so, well, I'm going to be meeting my friend in Malta. Hopefully, I'll be putting pictures up. I'm just trying to find some creepy things in Malta. There's not, and there is, apparently, because apparently the Germans were in Malta during World War II, or the Nazis, I should say. And there was a lot of torture and stuff like that. So a lot of that is still echoing around the island, so to speak. So I'll have a look at that and see if I can find anything. Hopefully I'll put things up. I have to get Instagram going again. So I might put things up there. I'll try. I don't think Facebook groups have shorts or reels. I think it's only the page, but I'll put some on the page, and yeah, we'll see how we go with that. Obviously, I'll put some on my own personal profile, but it'll be a different sort of feel, more of the holiday snaps. So yeah, I'm going on a lot of tours to find out about the history and everything about the island, and hopefully, as I said, I'll put up a lot of shots, snapshots, and also Instagram, because I think that's the best place for them. And maybe I'll do a lot of stories and reels. Who knows? I'll see how we go. See if I can get myself organized and be able to take pictures. I've sort of like been trained not to take pictures because people kept complaining about taking pictures all the time, and making me feel really bad and really horrible. So I've stopped taking pictures, which was so unlike me. But I'll see how we go. Shewell says it's actually pretty funny to get the card with everything that's going on in the world right now. I think it's cool. How is it funny? It's a change. And I think the world's going in for a change as well. So I think I think it's quite appropriate, actually. There's lots of changes coming up. And usually that's what happens with a solar eclipse. Lots of changes. Usually, although people say gloom and doom, it's not always gloom and doom, I would think. If you have a positive outlook, you attract the positive. That's what I say. So on that note, have a positive outlook. Manifest something. Put it out there. Remember, you've got a lot of help at the moment. New moon, solar eclipse, a lot of energy out there to help you manifest. So stay well and happy. Cheers. If anyone that's still watching, do like this video. Subscribe if you haven't, and to click the bell. And hopefully you'll see it, the other videos when I do get to bring them out. So cheers. And Jory and me, have a good week. So cheerio, and see you next week at a special time. Stay tuned. I'll let you know when I'm broadcasting. So bye. And thanks for those that came by. Thanks for coming. Bye.